Hey there, this is Yappy Dog. I was just talking to my squadron mates about helicopters and one of the advantages of the Huey being really easy to start. I thought, well, let's make a video on how really easy it is to start the Huey. So here we are in the Huey. I was telling my squad mates that there's really only two things you need to do. Turn on the fuel and hit the starter. We'll close the door. Not absolutely necessary, but here, you should turn the generators on too. Set the switches so that the indicators are showing the correct electrical buses. Turn the battery on. That's the sound of the rotor warning system reminding us that the rotor's not turning. Always good to know. We'll turn the lights on just to be good. So, turning on the fuel, we'll turn on the force trim and the hydraulic controls. Might as well go fly this afterwards. Set the throttle to idle. We're ready to go. Holding down the starter button. We got to keep the starter button down until we get enough rotor speed going. We'll know that when the lights on the upper left, the annunciator panel go out. That's the oil pressure warning. And yes, it jumps around just like a Huey. Alright, let's get the radar altimeter on. Might as well turn that on. Not, again, optional. Struggling here because I forgot to turn on something. There we go, the inverter. That's what powers most of the instruments. You don't actually need instruments to fly, but if you want to use them, then you gotta turn the inverter on. Unlike most modules, this doesn't come preset, so we have to adjust it. Turn on the IFF just to make the light go out. Doesn't actually do anything. We'll turn on the UHF radio just to have comms. Arm the flare dispenser just because. These are all optional things. Alright, so the collective is pulling all blades collectively, increasing the lift. We have the pedals, which are counteracting the torque, and the stick acts just like a stick in an airplane. So to take off, if we pull up on the collective, we'll create lift, but this will also try to twist the aircraft. It doesn't care if it's, the engine doesn't care if it's turning the blades or turning the aircraft. So we've got the tail rotor to counteract that. The tail rotor, of course, is just like a propeller. So while this is happening, it's trying to push us sideways. To correct for that, we need to tip the stick a little to the left. So between the tail rotor, anti-torque pedals, and the stick, that's going to take some power out from the engine. So we're going to have to compensate by adding more collective. Adding more collective means you have to add more pedals. More pedals means we have to add more stick. This takes more power out, so we have to pull the collective more. And this is the circular action that happens over and over and over again while you fly the helicopter. At least in the hover state. Alright, start to pull the collective up here. Getting a little light on the skids, kind of trying to just feel it. You don't want to pull too fast. Get light, kind of figure out where exactly those pedals need to be. And there we go. We're technically actually hanging below the rotor system, so we're kind of the end of a pendulum. So it takes a little bit to get used to anticipating where you need to be, because it's a little bit of a lag because you're swinging down below the system. A little bit of wind from the left, which is kind of pushing us around a little bit. We're just going to go ahead and rotate around. Just want to make sure there's no fixed wing aircraft going down the runway. George there is keeping an eye out for us, so looks like we're all set. Alright, let's get pointed back in the direction we want to go. We don't need no stinking runways. Pushing the stick forward. Now, as the rotor system gets into clear air, it's not being churned up in our hover, not sitting in our own airflow in the hover. We start getting cleaner air, we'll get better lift. That will start generating more. If that means we'll start climbing. As we go faster, that's generating additional lift. And we're away. At this point, we're basically flying just like an airplane. I can keep my hand off the collective and just fly it like any other airplane. And this is the easy part. If you're really having trouble learning to hover, it's not uncommon for people just to yank the collective, push the nose over it, and get some forward airspeed. It's a little rough on the system, but it's a simulator, so you can get away with that. And now you're flying just like an airplane, like you're familiar with. This is the easy part. Always love the view down here, though. You really get to see the scenery. You don't feel like you're flying over it, you're part of it. Look at all the pretty airplanes. So that's a Huey, that's flying. It's pretty easy to fly. Let's bring it around. Land it. This will be probably the hardest part of the whole operation. So, helicopters, unlike the movies, they don't stop on a dime. You're going to have to slow them up. So we're going to lower the collective, and as the aircraft starts to drop, we'll start tipping the nose back. And that's actually what's going to start to brake us and slow us down. So this becomes kind of a game of lowering the collective, tipping the nose back, lowering the collective a little more, tipping the nose back. Until you get what they call translational lift. Just you start to see a shaking like this. So now we are not really getting a lot of lift from the forward motion, and we're starting to fly in our own jet wash, our own rotor wash. So it's going to get a little rough here. It's better not to descend too fast at this point. We've all heard about VRS. So just making small adjustments. Take out a little bit of collective, take out a little bit of stick, back and forth. The thing about helicopters is you're never in a static position unless you're moving forward at a lot of speed. You're always adjusting. Always get the collective, the stick, the pedals, the collective, the stick, and the pedals, around and around. So ease it in. Always better to move slowly in the helicopters. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast, right? Somewhere around here looks like a good place to land. Whoopsie-doo. Okay. This isn't a how to fly helicopters video. This is a how to start them up and how easy they are video. And we're down. Oh yeah, we have doors. If it gets too hot, you can always open the doors. Makes you feel about 10 degrees cooler right away. Roll off the throttle. This is where a real helicopter, we might let the transmission oil cool down, just let it idle for a couple minutes. This isn't a real helicopter, so we can just chop the power. Press the button, roll off the throttle. That's it. That's how you start and fly a Huey. Easy peasy. And this is something my passengers do every time I land.